Hello everyone, welcome back to the class of computer organization. And in the previous class I have discussed about direct memory access. So why we use the concept of direct memory access? Because when we transfer huge amount of data from the input device to the memory, or you can say when we transfer a block of data in between the input output device or memory, then there we have to use the CPU. But when we use the direct memory access, then we do not use the CPU, or you can say we do not involve the CPU during the data transfer. Okay, but how the data transfer will take place? Because without the involvement of CPU, there is another hardware part that is called as DMA controller, or you can say direct memory access controller, which acts as a processor and it controls all the operations of this data transfer. And how that controller will know that how the data transfer will take place and what amount of data will be takes place and which type of data will be transferred. Okay. So to get that information will be given by the processor to that controller. Okay. So let's see briefly about that operations in a diagrammatically way. This is the connection between the DMA controller and the memory and also with the processor. So in between this there is a system bus. So through this system bus, this DMA controller is connected to this processor and with the main memory, and this is placed in between the connection of disk, okay, or you can say the memory. In other words, you can also say the IO devices, or from where you have to do the data transfer and to which you are going to perform the data transfer, that is our main memory. So here is the DMA controller. So DMA controller is basically used to control that data transfer when the CPU is busy for doing some other works. Okay, and the processor gives the data or the information about the data transfer to this DMA controller. So DMA controller basically it holds 3 registers. So one register, or you can say the first register, is used to hold the starting address of the memory where the data transfer will be start. Okay, or you can say when we store this data which is transferred from the IO device and to the main memory, then from which address that data will be stored. So that starting address of the memory has to be sent as an information to this DMA controller by this processor. Okay, and this processor actually gives access to the DMA controller so that it can use this system bus. Okay, because the processor has only the capacity of using this system bus and it transfers the data between the input output device and the main memory. So when this DMA controller wants to perform the data transfer, or you can say to control the data transfer in the absence of this processor, then first it has to request to the processor that I want to perform the data transfer. Okay, so then processor sends an acknowledgement signal to this DMA controller through this bus that yes, you can now use the system bus for the data transfer. Okay, and then the DMA controller takes the bus into its control and it performs the data transfer between the input output device and between the main memory. And another information which is given by the processor to the DMA controller is our word count. As I have discussed in my previous lectures that when we transfer the data between the main memory and when we transfer a huge amount of data, then the data transfer takes place in a block of words. Okay, we cannot transfer the data bit by bit. Okay, because when we transfer the data bit by bit, then it may take much more time, and that's why the data transfer is taken place in the form of block of words. So the DMA controller has the concept or has the information about how much data will be transferred. So that will be counted by counting the number of words. Okay, and next one is our the third register, which holds the status of the data transfer and also the flags. Okay, and here the first register content and the second register content, it is updated. Okay, that means the first register points to the starting address of the memory, and when the next word comes or the next word transfer, then that content will be increased. And what will be the content of second register, which stores the word count or the number of words which is transferred from the input output device to the memory. So that count will be decreased, because when the value of second register is 0, that means the DMA controller concluded that there is no word to be transferred from the IO device to the memory. Okay. So the content of, or you can say the value of first register which stores the address, that will be increased one after another. That means after every transfer the content of that will be increased, and the content of second register, or you can say the word count, will be decreased one after another. And after transferring all the data, then the DMA controller sends an interrupt to the processor that the data transfer is completed, so that it can again get the control of the system bus. Okay, so that is the concept of DMA controller, and by using the information provided by the processor, it can control the operation or the data transfer. Okay, so let's see how the access or the authorization of bus is given to the devices. Okay, so that is called as bus arbitration. Okay, so what do you mean by bus arbitration actually? So there is a bus master which is used to initiate the data transfer on the bus. Let's take an example that there are two devices which are connected to each other by using a bus. So which device will transfer the data by using that bus will be called as the bus master. Okay, and then the next device can take control of the bus after the current master relinquishes the control, or it releases the control. So when two devices are connected through the bus, and the device which initiates the data transfer will be called as the bus master, and the other device, if that device wants to access that bus, then it has to get the permission from the bus master, and after getting the permission, or you can say the bus master gives permission to the next device which will use the bus. Okay, so that is the bus master concept, and which device will use the bus, that will be decided by the bus master. Okay, and then next one is our bus arbitration. So bus arbitration is a process by which the next device to become master is selected. Okay, as one device cannot hold the bus for the maximum amount of time, so it has to release that bus so that other device can get access to the bus. Okay, so in that scenario, there must be a technique so that when that bus is released from one bus master, then which device will become the bus master in the next. Okay, so that will be decided by the process, that is our bus arbitration. Okay, so basically bus arbitration is of two types. One is our centralized and another one is distributed arbitration. Okay, so this is the arrangement of bus arbitration using a daisy chain. Okay, so daisy chain means, as I have discussed, that the devices, here the devices are DMA controllers. Okay, so the devices are connected in a serial manner, and the acknowledgement, here you can see BZ1 and BZ2. So that acknowledgement will be given from the processor to one device and that device will forward that to another device. Okay, because the daisy chaining concept, here you can see the concept says that the device which is close to the processor, it gets highest priority, and the device which is far away from the processor gets low priority. Okay, so in this order the DMA controller will get high priority than this DMA controller 2. So there are three signals which are used to arrange this bus arbitration, that is called as BBSY, bus busy, and BR, bus request, and this is BZ, bus granted. Okay, so let's see about these signals one after another. Okay, so you have to remember this flow of data, that means whether it is unidirectional or it is bidirectional. Okay, so here you can see the connection between the bus request line and the device is unidirectional, and also the bus grant signal lines. Okay, but the bus busy lines is of bidirectional, that means the data or the information can be flow in both the directions, from the bus to the device and also from the device to the bus. First one is our BR, request line, or you can say that is called as bus request line. Okay, and otherwise it is called as open drain line. So the signal on this line is a logical OR of the bus request from all the DMA device. Okay, here you can see in this picture, this is the BR line and this is in the form of logical OR, and when the DMA controller sends the bus request, that means that will be sent through this bus request line and that will be given to the input as the to the processor, and that is in the form of logical OR. Okay, and the next is our BZ, that means bus grant line. So processor activates this line indicating acknowledging to all the DMA devices which is connected in a daisy chain fashion that the bus may be used when it is free. Okay, so bus grant line means when the processor gets the request or bus request from the DMA controllers, that means we need the bus or the DMA controllers needs the bus so that it can perform the data transfer. Then at that point of time, after getting the request from the DMA controller device, then the processor sends the acknowledgement to the DMA controllers, as there are multiple DMA controllers maybe. So all the DMA controllers are connected to the processor in a daisy chain way, and the processor sends the acknowledgement to the device in a daisy chain way. Okay, so and that acknowledgement means when the bus is free, at that point of time that DMA controller can use the bus, and in the daisy chain way means if the DMA controller 1 wants to use the bus, then DMA controller 2 cannot use. Okay, so the DMA controller 2 has to wait until the DMA controller 1 releases the bus, or it forwards the acknowledgement signal which is sent by the processor. Okay, so which DMA controller will receive that acknowledgement signal, that device only can access the bus when the bus is free. Okay, so that is the concept of bus grant line. Then next one is our bus busy. Okay, so you can abbreviate here easily BBSY, that means B stands for bus and this is for busy. So open collector line it is called as, it is open drain line and it is open collector line. Okay, so the current bus master indicates devices that is currently using the bus by signaling this line. Okay, so the bus busy line indicates that the bus is busy or the bus is used by some other device. Okay, and that is done by the current bus master. That means the data transfer which is taken place in that bus, or you can say by using that bus, whatever the device which is the bus master, that gives the information that the bus is now used by that device, so that it has to wait for some amount of time. Okay, so it sends a signal here by using that line to that device that the bus is busy or the bus is used by that bus master. So after the bus is released from that bus master, other DMA controller can access that. Okay. Then next concept is our centralized arbitration. As I have told you that boss arbitration is of two types. One is centralized arbitration, another one is distributed arbitration. Okay. So let's go to that one after another. So first one is our centralized arbitration. So centralized means separate unit or boss arbitration circuitry connected to the bus. That means there is a central unit which is connected to the bus, and the processor is normally the bus master, and unless it grants bus mastership to DMA. So in this centralized arbitration technique, the bus master is our processor, and from that processor DMA can access the bus by getting the bus grant signal by using the bus grant line. Okay. Then for the timing control in the previous slide, as I have so the DMA controller 2 requests and acquires bus mastership and later releases the bus. Okay. And during this scenario, as the bus master, it may perform one or more data transfer operations depending on whether it is operating in the cycle steering or in the block mode. Okay. So there are basically two transfers, data transfer mode. Okay. As I have discussed in the daisy chain that there may be a code, or each device is associated with a code. Okay. So that determines that in which mode the data transfer takes place. So here you can see that the data transfer is maybe in cycle steering or the block mode. Okay. So that is done by the bus master. If it may perform one or more operations, that means the bus master, which one is the bus master of that bus arbitration, so that can perform more data transfers or maybe one. Okay. So depending on whether it is operating in cycle steering mode or in block mode. Okay. So depending on the transfer of mode or operations, it can perform the data transfer. Okay. The next one is our, after it releases the bus, the processor resumes bus mastership. Okay. So after the releasing of the bus from that DMA controller 2, as I have discussed that there are two controllers, 1 and 2. So after resumed of the bus from the bus master, then the processor can now get the authorization of that bus and it takes control of the bus. Further, the request is sent from any device, or you can say it holds the bus until it gets the bus request from any other DMA controllers. Okay. And next one is our distributed arbitration. So in the distributed arbitration technique, all devices waiting to use the bus has to carry out the arbitration process, no central arbiter. So in the centralized arbitration, there is one central circuit. So here in this distributed, all devices waiting to use the bus. Okay. And there are no central circuitry. And then each device on the bus is assigned with a 4-bit identification number. So each of the device which is attached to that bus is assigned with a identification number, and by using that number the bus can be assigned to that device. And one or more devices request the bus by asserting the start arbitration signal and place their identification number on the 4 open collector lines. Okay. So each device, or you can say each device is connected to 4 open collector lines, or you can say the, like I have discussed, open collector lines means the busy lines. Okay. So that is connected to this, and the 4 open collector lines means, as here I have says that 4-bit identification number. So each bit is transmitted in each collector lines. Okay. And that identification number is collected, and then in the next the device is requested by using that identification number, and the processor gives access to the device by using also that identification number of that device. Okay. And it sends the start arbitration signal and with the identification number in the bus, so that it can request to the processor that that device wants to use the bus. Okay, and then arbitration 0 to arbitration 4 are the 4 open collectors lines. Okay, so there are 4 lines, one is ARB 0 and ARB 1, ARB 2 and ARB 3. So there are 4 open collectors lines. So through that lines the identification numbers and each bit of the identification number is sent. Then one among the 4 is selected using the code on the lines and one with the highest ID number. So one among the 4 is selected using this identification number, and the highest ID number will be selected and given to the processor, and that processor will give access to that device which is a highest ID number, and by using the code which is selected by using the bus request, okay, as provided by the device to the processor. So this is the concept of distributed arbitration. That means any device can request to the processor, okay, and when it will request for the bus to the processor, it sends the start arbitration signal and with the identification number which is assigned to that device by using the 4 collector lines. Okay. So in the next class we will discuss details about these things with a detailed diagram. Okay. So till then keep watching. Thank you.